I open Instagram and I see people teaching English. I open TikTok and I see people teaching English. I open YouTube and I see people teaching English. I see people saying, don't say this, don't say this other word, and I just don't understand why. Because saying is the key for communicating. If you say, that means you speak. And if you speak, that means you communicate. And you should never be afraid of communicating. The only way to start speaking a language is to start speaking badly. Remember that. And start making mistakes. Once you start making mistakes, you start learning. And once you start learning, you correct those mistakes. It's a natural process. Now, the simplest way to learn English or any other language or to learn anything is this: your mindset. Never start a course thinking, oh my God, English is difficult, I'm not going to learn anything. No, your mind. The first thing, you need to be motivated and you need to think English is simple, because it is. English is simple. Subject, verb, object. That is all you need. 3 words to form a phrase. Then, studying, learning, repeating, you learn different words. You put in an adjective here and there. Adjectives, very important. Words, verbs, adjectives, because adjectives are like side dishes. When you have a dish of meat, you don't only eat meat, do you? Meat is the subject. Then you need something around the meat, right? And to make that meat nice and to make that dish nice, you need adjectives. Vegetables. Adjectives are like vegetables. The more adjectives you know, the more the phrase becomes nicer and your English or your language becomes nicer. Of course, you need a good method. Without a good method, it's quite difficult to learn. Good method and, of course, a good teacher. You need a teacher that makes you repeat things, not a teacher that is there and explains and speaks and talks about grammar all the time. Grammar, especially English grammar, is very simple. Once you know the basics, and the basics for me is present simple, present continuous, past simple, present perfect, which is probably the most difficult one, the future, and the conditional. After that, you're all set. You don't need anything else. Of course, with time and with experience, you can add other things, but you need the basics of the grammar and vocabulary, and you will be able to communicate perfectly. But the most important thing is your mindset, is the way you enter a classroom, is the way you start a lesson online. You enter, you start, and you say, yeah, I'm gonna learn. And at the end of every lesson, and this is what every good teacher should do too, you should ask yourself, student and teacher, what have I learned today? And the teacher should ask, what have I taught today? What has the student learned? Mindset, method. A teacher, words, grammar and phonetics. Together